Everybody, welcome. Good to see you all. I see some familiar faces. I'm excited about this panel. I have some familiar faces on the panel as well. As Jim mentioned, I am a partner at Proskauer. I run the Tech Media Telecom Group, part of the sports practice. And I like how he characterized my last 20 years as helping to shape the way people consume content. That's what this panel is about. And with that, I'll let each of the panelists introduce themselves briefly.
Hi, Marie Donahue, Amazon Sports.
Hey, Amir, Gelman, WC Sports, a tech company.
Steve Braband, WWE.
Good morning, I'm Rosalyn, Durant with ESPN.
Ros, it's good to see you. Glad you made it.
Good to see you.
Amir, I think I'll start with you. I'm guessing there may be some people in the audience that don't know much about WSC Sports. It was good meeting you before we came up here and learned a little bit about it. I know you're right in the middle of AI. And I listened to Bill Koenig briefly. He mentioned AI, but then I didn't hear what he had to say about it and how it's being implemented. So I'm interested in learning more. So why don't you tell us a little bit about WSC?
Sure. So for the ones who doesn't know who we are, WSC, we work with media rights holders. Anyone have rights, and we help them maximize content. Basically, we have an AI that identifies every action of the game in real time, and we help them distribute, create highlights automatically. So our system, basically, all of the rights holders that you know, the majority of the highlights we're seeing today is being produced by an AI. We identify everything and basically create game highlights, player highlights, head-to-heads, and everything you can think of. So we do it for mainly digital, but also some stuff with Amazon, ESPN.
Could you give us a real-world example of where it's been implemented?
Sure. So any app that you're seeing, the ESPN app as an example, all the highlights you've been seeing within the ESPN app has been created by the WC AI system. YouTube, Facebook, and also even when you're watching a live game, Amazon Prime, and some other stuff. We have different type of compilations that you've been seeing throughout the live game. So it's been really distributed, everything digital, OTT, app, social, and even more. So we're now also moving into other directions. So.
Okay. How about the rest of the panel? Are there instances where you've actually used AI? Because every day you read about it, you hear about it. I've tried ChatGPT once. That's about all I've done. But how is it being used, and how is it helping you to deliver the content, produce the content?
Yeah, I'll go. First, we work with WSC, who's a great partner, so happy to be on the panel with them. For us, I guess the easiest to explain example is Prime Vision, which is one of our alt feeds when you watch Thursday Night Football. So Prime Vision is actually an alternate broadcast feed that combines a graphical overlay, AI insights, next-gen stats, which are derived from the sensors on the players' shoulder pads, and then and also the All-22 camera, which is you can see the entire field. So what we do is we give insights to fans if you want to understand not just predictive analysis, but also what you're seeing, a little more of what's behind the action. And a great example for us, which is very AI focused, is something that you'll see tonight. We're calling it defensive alerts. So what this is we have an AI-powered application that can actually follow all the players, and at snap it will tell you which players are most likely to rush the quarterback. And so it's run on a neural network, so it gets smarter every play.
Do the defensive coaches have access to that?
I know. Exactly. I know you asked for it for your high school team.
I did. I want to implement that. But help the team a little bit.
It's actually an amazing opportunity for fans to understand what's actually going on the field, and the predictive nature of it is outstanding. We worked with our team in Israel on our computer vision team and our AI team, and I think it's the type of thing that's really going to change the way fans experience football.
Interesting. What about you, Steve? WWE, is AI part of the roadmap? Is it implemented?
We've brainstormed about it a lot, had a lot of internal meetings. We haven't committed to anything right now, but if you know anything about the WWE, the power of us is our long-term storytelling, our creative writing team, led by Paul Levesque, Triple H, and Bruce Pritchard. So I think a lot of what we're doing and discussing internally I'm excited about, but nothing to announce or commit to right now.
Okay, great. Another topic that's hot and you hear about all the time are the alternate broadcasts. Again, the last panel mentioned them. I'm curious to see or hear what your experiences have been with the alt broadcasts. So they've been successful. I know that, at least in my home, it creates a little bit of fragmentation. You know, I watch the game, and my two sons watch Dude Perfect. They watch that, and my older sons like to watch the Manningcast. But how has that gone, and what's next?
Well, you're describing it. Your home is what we want. You know, we always say anyone who follows ESPN, you know, our mission is simply to serve sports fans. Whatever sports fans want, wherever they are. And your kids may be on one channel, you may be on a different network, but for us it's all about, we all know that fans like choice, they like options. And it's one of the great things about having multiple networks and multiple platforms is we have different places where we can tell stories in unique and creative and sometimes really innovative ways. So for us, it's about options and creative storytelling. You know, I've been at ESPN now, I've been with the Walt Disney Company for 24 years. We've been doing alt broadcasts in some form for about 20 years now. So this isn't new for us. You know, and I think about one of the best examples that comes to mind for me is with our multicast. And you think about that in college football championship game, and you can go across any of our platforms and any of the networks, and there are different ways of watching the game. And fans get to choose. Your kids may choose one, you choose a different, but for us, as long as the fan is engaging with the content and engaging with the platforms, it works. It's a success.
That's interesting. I didn't know, 24 years ago, what was the first altcast?
Well, but you understand, sometimes it's not as creative as it is now. Like recently, we had the wonderful volumetric Toy Story with NFL, but when we started back in the day, when you look at ESPN and ESPN2, it could be as simple as having coaches on one platform talking about their experience with the game versus the analysts on the main platform calling the game.
Right. And how did the Toy Story one I also tuned into for a second?
Sure.
It looked pretty cool. How did that all go?
Very
and
cool.
Was it hard to produce?
It was not easy, but you know, it's all about creativity and just innovation for us. So, and these things do not happen fast, let me emphasize that. But we know that with all of our partners, it is so much about expanding the reach and also trying to reach different audiences. And so we tapped into some beautiful thing with the Walt Disney Company at the various IP, wanted to find an IP that we thought would connect with different audiences and help expand reach. And who doesn't love Toy Story, right? So of course, when we talk about expanding the audience, you have a younger viewer, but also we're kids at heart, and it is a perfect IP for family viewing. And we witnessed that with Toy Story. So working with our creative studios team, the production team, like this really took everyone and every department in the company coming together in our production team and all of the resources. NFL leaned all the way into this to say, how do we do it in a unique way that definitely reaches a younger audience, expands the reach. So on ESPN Plus, the highest rated event thus far on ESPN Plus. With this alt telecast, we also put on Disney Plus, which was the most viewed live event thus far on Disney Plus. So we were able to increase the reach. We were able to bring in a different audience and provide fans with just a really cool, nostalgic option.
Sounds like we should expect to see some more of those down the road.
We're not done. You know, again, as we continue to look for new ways and different ways to engage with the audience and provide them with unique viewing experiences, we think the alt telecast is just one of the tools that we have in the toolkit that we'll continue to use.
What about you, Steve? Is WWE thinking about altcasts? How do you think about it? How do you exploit them?
We've done a few. We recently, this past year, went into a partnership with Twitch, which saw the return of a WWE Twitch channel where we do an alternate sidecast to Monday Night Raw every Monday night. More of a fan experience, a little small, not a full peek behind the curtain, but a small peek behind the curtain of the show. We're also really interested in working with our superstars for them to discuss the shows and discuss our events live in real time. We have this always-on mindset, so our superstars have Twitch channels. Additionally, we do a series that we're looking to expand called Playback, and it is more of a historical alternative broadcast where The Undertaker and Mankind, Mick Foley, rewatch a Hell in a Cell match from 25 years ago and talk fans through what was going through their minds as they through each other through steel cages and hit each other with chairs. So that series has been really successful for us in the digital space. We're looking to expand it. Obviously, it runs on Peacock as well. So those alternative broadcasts, we look to kind of lean into the nostalgia that our fans are really interested in. Small peek behind the curtain, but really when WrestleMania happens, we want you focused on WrestleMania. It's the movie. It's what you need to be focused on, every little instinct of it. So we have alternative broadcasts here and there. Our partnership with Twitch has been great, and I recommend anyone checking it out. But for the most part, that's kind of where we're sitting there.
Any of the old wrestlers coming back soon for an all-cast that we should know about?
Tune in. I'll no spoilers.
Is Bob Backlund still with us? I'm not so sure.
The Undertaker and Mick Foley one was super compelling as a fan growing up in the late 90s. When I was in high school, those guys I looked up to. So if this is a shameless plug for our YouTube channel, go check it out. They did about 25 minutes walking everyone through it, and it was excellent.
Amir, is there a role to play in AI in all these?
100%.
Marie mentioned the defensive op cast.
Yeah, 100%. From the WC side, we kind of like start focusing on generative AI and what we can do with this. And then one of the main stuff we've been looking at is how you create like a sports model and how you're able to train it in real time. And I think one of the main use cases is going to be alternate broadcasting. The gap right now with generative AI and sports is what we call the script. Mm-hmm. Generative AI right now is like a broad and general. So we need to be sport specific, and that's where WC comes in, is with our experience and everything we've been doing in the last decade, analyzing and can be able to creating scripts and writing it, and that's how we can do it in real time, alternate broadcasting. So you can have your own influencers broadcasting those games. You can have other stuff, and you don't need to just rely on humans. You can start creating characters. You can take the Toy Story and actually scale it up to different stuff, and that's kind of the core is how you're able to do it in real time. So definitely.
And fans seem to like them. We have the dudes coming back on Black Friday, the first NFL Black Friday game upcoming.
I saw the ad. I would paint it black. That was
yeah, right. It's a great ad. So the Dude Perfect is an alt feed we do. As Roz talked about, it's all about optionality, but also expanding the tent for different demographics. And so they'll be coming back the day after Thanksgiving and the week after. That's gotten incredible positive feedback from families, especially all these kids staying up late to watch Thursday night. We had LeBron in the shop back this year, so we did that a few weeks ago. And one of the things I really like about the alt broadcast is it's really a testing lab. So a lot of what we're doing on Prime Vision, I think you'll ultimately see make its way into our main broadcast, and so it's a great sandbox for us to play.
Right. Let's talk about Thursday Night Football a little bit. Big game tonight.
Yeah.
There's some Pittsburgh fans in the crowd. Talk to them. Oh, Steve's one.
Yeah, I'm one. Yeah, I'll be watching.
Good luck. That was a big investment for Amazon.
Yeah.
Talk about how you stood that up from a production perspective, how hard that was.
Yeah.
About the future.
It was a lot of fun, but a pretty big challenge and pretty big undertaking. So when we signed the deal a few years ago, we knew it would be a huge undertaking, and then because we're crazy, we launched it a year early. So it became a huge undertaking that we had to move really fast on. So the important thing for us is an incredible broadcast. Make sure it works, so that it works on people's homes. A lot of old TVs that are out there, you have to do a lot of custom work, and then that it's easy to find. So we had to hire a whole production team. We entered into a pretty unique relationship with NBC that also enabled us to bring Fred Godelli over to produce our inaugural season. Amazon has been in sports for about 6 years, so we've spent a lot of trial and error and a lot of investment. So a lot of, it's very expensive. It's very intensive in terms of internal resources as well. So it was essential that it work, and it did, and it continues to. And I think we've gotten even better at letting fans know about it. And so first season was great, and the second season's even better. We're up close to 25% in viewership, and wait until Nielsen's new numbers are accepted, we'll be even higher. So we've done a great job. We're really proud of the team. The NFL gave us a great schedule, which is really important, especially on Thursday night. And we also think streaming, it's inevitable. So if we just follow the trends, we'll continue to see increases every season, we think. And we're still finding that the audience is 7 years younger than linear, which is consistent with last year. So yeah, we're really excited.
When are we going to be able to point and click and buy things while watching Thursday Night Football?
Well, technically you can, because if you go to X-Ray, you can buy things.
Okay.
But I would encourage everybody to watch tonight, and especially Black Friday. QR codes still work and are pretty effective. And I think on Black Friday particularly, you'll see us integrate some pretty interesting retail activation, so we're excited about that. We're really turning Black Friday into a big event, so we'll do some special things around music and retail, and the team can't wait. Anyone who knows our on-camera crew, they're very excited to do some unique Thanksgiving and holiday-related activities. And then, of course, we have the dudes on Black Friday as well.
The dudes. One thing you said to me leading up to this, which I hadn't really thought about, was how local everything is. So Amazon has rights all around the world, and you were talking about how the production in different locations is different and very specific. Talk to the crowd.
Yeah. So one thing is we have a pretty small production crew, production group that we have to cover the globe. So once out of practicality, but also ultimately by choice, you realize that fans are different in each country, in each sport, and they want to consume their content differently. So for example, we had the US Open tennis rights in the UK, and we also now have Roland Garros in France. And French, and not to make broad generalizations, but they like to watch their tennis very differently. So it's helped us a lot that we actually partner with local production companies and local talent to ensure that we don't bring, the American Amazon approach to everything. We bring great things, which is our technology and our focus on customers and things like that. But you ultimately want to respect the customer, the sports fan. And so we partner a lot locally with production groups to make sure we have that local knowledge and expertise.
Right.
And we found it's very appreciated.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who can get rave reviews in France is phenomenal.
Doing something right.
Yeah, and so they've been really, really appreciative.
Roz, what about you? Do you have a similar experience for ESPN's production?
For Monday Night
For ESPN, similar in terms of producing events locally?
Absolutely. Well, it's about knowing the fan and using our data to understand what the fan is interested in and what they want. So I think if you look at ESPN over the years and how we produce and what we produce and what that looks like now is different today than it was even a few years ago, because our knowledge and our awareness and the information we get back from the fan on what is authentic and what they're most interested in continues to evolve. You see that we announced the deal with ESPN Bet. One thing that we've learned is that for sports fans, this is part of how they express their fandom is through bidding, and to see the way that interest has increased over the past few years has caused us to revisit and change the way that we lean in and the way that we incorporate even the betting content into our productions now. So you'll continue to see us evolve based on the fans' interests.
There's a particular property I wanted to ask you about before
I'm curious, which one?
So TGL, that's one of your new properties.
Yes.
I've worked with that group since almost from the get-go, so we're pretty excited about it. I'd love to hear.
Pretty excited too.
Love to hear why you found that property interesting and what the plans might be and what we might see in January.
I'm going to sound like a broken record because I'll continue to say that so much for us is about innovation. So much is about creativity, but it's just core to who we are and how we do business at ESPN. And TGL fits right in. Like, it is this really innovative approach to sport and to golf, what is a more traditional sport. So when I think about it, you're going to have, first, it's the PGA Tour. And it's Rory, and it's Tiger, so it's legitimate golf and legitimate sport, but they're doing it in a unique way because they too want to bring it to different audiences and attract people into the sport without losing the traditional fan. So you'll see these PGA Tour greats with microphones, and fans will have different level of accessibility and access to the sport. It's a 2-hour platform, so it's easy watching. You'll see it across our platforms, ABC, ESPN E2, ESPN Plus, and I think that it's gonna be a really unique and different way. It'll be unlike anything. Definitely any way that you've seen golf presented, but I think it'd be unlike anything else you've seen on TV.
Yeah, I'm excited. For those who don't know TGL, it's the Simulated Golf League that's launching in January.
January, yes.
With Tiger and Rory at the head.
20 minutes from Tiger's house, right?
20 minutes from Tiger's head.
Make it convenient, Rory.
Go figure, yeah.
I'll be there.
Shifting gears here for a second, I feel like I spent a lot of time watching sports entertainment programming. I just finished the Yogi documentary. It made me cry at the end. So, we seem to be like the golden age of that type of programming. Why is that programming so compelling? Should we expect to see more? Is there like an end at some point where like it'll just be the market will be too saturated with that type of programming? Because there is a lot of it.
I don't see any end. Fans want stories and storytelling in addition to the game content that they come for, and it brings in different types of fans. You have the fan who's interested in the X and O's of the sport. You have the fan who's interested in the story behind the sport. And we've been doing this, when I think about the storytelling, whether it is original series or the documentaries or 30 for 30 that's continues to be incredibly successful for us. It brings in younger audience. It brings in a more female audience. It continues to bring in your traditional sports audience. I don't see this ending. We recently announced a documentary series with WNBA great Candace Parker. There's an original series coming next year with Serena Williams, and fans are telling us, and they're proving with their viewership habits, that there continues to be very strong interest.
Yeah, we don't see an end, similar to as Roz said, we don't see an end to it. We just had Kelsey about the Kelsey brothers, which is the #1 rated documentary ever on Prime. I do think you do have to keep a pretty high bar for the stories. I do think some of these follow series can get a little boring. They're also harder to do because you don't know the story. You have to have great access, and you have to have really compelling characters. And if you don't get all those factors right, you can end up having something that's not nearly as interesting for fans. But when you get it right, to Roz's point, not only do you get new fans in, but fans understand the players and the characters more. And I actually think a lot of what we've done with All or Nothings, especially in Europe with the football teams, is it really gets people to understand the players more and to become even bigger fans of the live events we show.
How about you, Steve? WWE?
Yeah, I would say in addition to that, it is all about the storytelling, but the people that are also telling the stories are fans. I know at the WWE, we've extended our partnership with A&E, and our biography series has been extremely successful because at A&E, they're fans of the product, and our storytelling with biographies, rivals is unlimited. We've committed to over 100+ hours of programming for A&E. At Peacock, we did the Ric Flair documentary that premiered earlier this year. We did another documentary on Cody Rhodes, becoming Cody Rhodes when he returned to WWE. And I think it's led by Kevin Dunn, Chris Kaiser, Chris Chambers on our team. There's some of the best storytellers in the world, and I think that goes across the board of people we've worked with across media. Know how to tell a story, understand what fans want, and really lean into partnerships with leagues, teams, players, superstars in our terms. So I give a lot of credit to the people behind the scenes as well, who understand how to frame the story, understand what fans want to see. I think some of the most compelling stuff from the Kelsey documentary is him at home, being a dad, taking out the trash. I loved it. And we look to do some of the same with our programming too. So I think it's endless. I think we'll continue to do it, and fans will eat it up.
Marie's point is so good about how it helps you understand the characters better.
Yeah.
And once you know them and know their stories, you start rooting for them in different ways. You want to see how this story ends. And that is something that the storytelling efforts that we're all talking about, that we're all doing, provides.
Amir, is there a role for AI? I keep probing AI because I need to learn more about how it's being used.
I think so. It's still early to know about like the production of this in terms of the AI, but I think there is definitely around like the distribution and understanding the fan and understanding what they care about and how you're able to help, because I think everything is one environment, right? You have the game, then you have the characters or the shows around it, and now you need to distribute this and being able to tell the story, and we're gonna get to a point as we're gonna get more shows and more content that you're gonna need to distribute them in the right way and slice them and share them with the right and personalize it to the right fans. There's the David Beckham documentary right now, is how you're able to use it, to leverage EPL content or Real Madrid or even LA Galaxy and everything. So you need to be able to use it in different ways. And I think AI is going to play a huge role, especially in that distribution and how fan is able to get personalized content and how he's able to actually interact with this better.
Great. I want to circle back on data, because that's another topic where, we go to these conferences, you hear people refer to data, I always feel like it's said in a very general way. Yes, we're using data. It's helping us to know our fan. But can you give us some actual examples of how data is used, how it helps you to understand your viewer or your fan better?
Yeah, I could start if that's okay. Real quick, our data and analytics team created a 360 cross-platform understanding of how our fans talk about our sport. We review that and share that information internally. Also, we're extremely lucky to have live focus groups 52 weeks of the year with our fans. They will cheer or boo our superstars, and they'll tell us what worked. By the way, booing is a good thing. And sometimes when they boo, we know there's a connection between the fan and our superstar. So we're always using data to continue to evolve. Innovation is a big part of what we do as well. And the only way we do it is it can't just be our opinion. There's good opinions, but the data helps drive a lot of, if we think something's there, we'll look at the data and say, hey, maybe we should double down here or listen to our audience. So really, we're really lucky. Strong data and analytics team internally, and then a strong audience. The WWE Universe is very, very vocal, and we listen to them.
How about Amazon? Lots of data.
Yeah, we live and breathe data. Very similar. We have weekly business reports where we just have pages and pages of data. We know everything about our audience. Sometimes you have to remember also, though, that not every decision can be made based on data. So we also, anecdotes are important to us as well. If someone sends in an email or you hear anecdotes, you don't want to be blinded by the data. So it's important for us to understand not all decisions are made by data, but obviously incredibly important. It's the number one way to listen to and understand your audience and the performance.
I'll say something and not related to WC, but we like to say that we're moving from an era of a VOD, a video on demand, to we call VOC, a video on command, where the fan can choose. He want to do it vertical, he want to do it with his phone, he only want to see one team, she only want to have one specific player that she's following, and without data, you're not able to do this. And this is we're gonna get to this point, and what everything Amazon has been doing with X-Ray and AI. This is a video on command, and WWE and everyone, and ESPN. So I think data is the start. Without this, you're not able to move into this VOC, which it's WC's term, so don't use it, please. But
or use it and credit you.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So I think data is the core for this.
Okay, all right. I think we have a couple more minutes left, and I'm going to end with just some quick hitters, a la SBJ's way of conducting these interviews. So Marie, I ask you, what content or property are you most excited about?
Coach Prime. So we're about to launch season 2 of Coach Prime, which is Deion Sanders. We did season 1 last year at Jackson State, and we've been with him all summer and in Colorado. And having been there live and having seen some of the cuts, I just think what his mission and what he's trying to do with these kids and what he's trying to do in college football is fascinating. And I think people are going to be really surprised and touched when they see behind the scenes.
That's great. That's great. I'm a fan. Rosalyn, will ESPN go D2C?
ESPN has been DTC for a long time. ESPN Plus is 5 years old now. That is direct to consumer. We have been in the social space, the digital space, talking directly to the consumer. If you're asking about our flagship networks, I think our chairman, Jimmy Patero, and our CEO, Bob Iger, have talked about it and said, at some point, yes, on a parallel path with our traditional model.
Steve, what content delivery innovation have you seen from other sports properties that you wish had been yours?
None. We're the best. No, I'm kidding. I love what the NFL has done with eventizing the schedule release day and what their digital teams have created around the releasing of simply a calendar. It's very compelling, interesting content. You've seen what all the teams have done. The Tennessee Titans this year had an amazing just on-the-street interview with people in Nashville. I admire what they've done of creating an event, a full digital event, out of just releasing a calendar. It's really good.
And Amir, what's next for content and AI?
I think I said it a lot. I think generative AI in sports is going to be a game changer for a lot of things, from like specific use case like AI commentary and other stuff, but also just creation of new type of content, even shows and other stuff. So that's what I think what's next.
All right, great. I think that's the time we have. Thank you to the panel.
Thank you.
Back to Jim.
Thank you very much. That was a great discussion.